Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. I'm teacher Ainur from SK Agama Sarikei, and today I am going to share some tips and tricks in essay writing. These tips and tricks were inspired by Sir Abdullah Matno. If you want to know more about tips and tricks, you can go to his Telegram at the link that I attach here. Okay, now let's start. We are going to focus on guided writing. Usually this is asked in English 014 paper in section C. Write a short story about the composite picture or series pictures. Helping words, questions, and also cues are given. Let's see the layout of the question. These questions looks familiar, isn't it? So we are going to read the instruction given in this question. Write a story about the picture. You may use the words to help you. Your story must be in between 80 and 100 words. Write in the spaces provided. So these are the stimulus given. Usually we will be given 3 pictures and then there are words given to help us build our story later. Now, let's move on to the tips and tricks. What makes a story? So there are 3 main things to remember. First one is character. The second one is setting. And last one is plot. Now, what are characters? We can talk about people or animal. How about setting? Okay, the setting talks about time and place. We are going to talk about time and place more in the next slide. Next, we also have mood. For example, sad, happy, shocked, scared, angry, or surprised. And we can also talk about the weather with, for example, cold, hot, fine, raining, windy, or breeze. So mood and weather will build the plot of our story. So these are the steps that you need to know before you write. There are 5 steps. Step number 1 is brainstorm. Step number 2 is draft. Step number 3 is revise. Step number 4 is proofread. And last one is step number 5, publish. I always tell my students to always proofread and proofread because it is very important. Do not send your essay without proofread. Okay, let's proceed. So, in step 1, brainstorming, what do? You see these 3 pictures, so you should write what you see. You can scribble on your paper or on the picture. You can scribble about what name you want to give the person in the picture. You can also write about the setting. Remember, you can write about the mood, the weather, or you can write about any words that that you want to use in your story later. Okay, or you can ask these questions to help you build up your story. For example, number 1, who is or who are in the picture? Number 2, where did the incident take place? Number 3, when did the incident happen? Number 4, how did the weather look like? Or you can ask this question as well. What happened before the incident? How did the character feel? When did the incident happen? What happened next? What did the character do to solve the problem? The questions are helping you to build the storyline of your essay. Okay, next question that can help you are, what was the lesson learned? Or what did the character promise? So here are some of the questions that you could ask yourself when you are brainstorming for the storylines. Now let's look at the character brainstorming. So you can ask these details for your characters. For example, name, gender, age, relationship, home, job, place of work, hobby, ambition, appearance, quality, and another quality. Setting, you can ask yourself details such as when did the incident happen, or where it happened, how was the weather, or how was the incident happen, or you can tell about the mood, the feeling that the person in the story feel. This is setting. So we're talking about place. It could be indoor, such as classroom, library, office, stadium, shopping mall, hospital, and many other indoor place. Or you can also set the time, okay, according to the picture. It could be outdoor at the beach, river, park, playground, jungle, sea, field, campsite, and many other places. So these are the time marker that you can use in your essay. For example, at 10 o'clock, in the morning, at night, during the school holidays, on Saturday, after the incident, before going to school, last Sunday, yesterday, just now. Or you could also use while, when, as, out of the blue, suddenly, tomorrow, in the blink of an eye, last Sunday, on the next day, or meanwhile. There are many more time markers, and you can choose which time markers that make sense to your story lines. There are more time markers such as long time ago, later, 2 minutes later, a moment after, the moment, by the time, 3 hours after, few minutes ago, just, or in the. Okay, now let's look at sequence marker. So sequence marker are also important to make your storyline stay connected. Your story will have a good flow if you use sequence marker. For example, first, next, second, after that, or before that, later, finally, or prior to something. So these are the setting for whether. So these are examples of sentences that you can use in your story to set, to give details about how was the weather during the incident. Okay, as you can see, okay, the examples given are: it rained, cats and dogs, which means it rains heavily. Next, it is a perfect Sunday morning. It was a cool, chilly morning. It was a hot blaze afternoon. Hot blaze is very scorching hot. Next, it was a crispy Sunday morning. It was a sweltering afternoon. It was cloudy afternoon. It was a cold and damp evening. It was a dark, cold night. The weather was ideal. The weather was cold, or the sun shines brightly. Okay, so for this setting, you can write 1 or 2 sentences telling about how the day looks like. Now, for mood, you can describe how the person in the story feels. For example, he was elated. He was sad. He was under the weather. Under the weather means sick or not feeling well. Next, he was happy. He was curious. He was furious. He was stunned. He was angry. He was feeling excited. He felt pity. He was frightened. Or he was upset. So you choose or you write whichever relates to your storyline. Okay, so what question you could ask yourself to build up the plot of the story? Now, let's look at the questions given here. This is to activate your brain so that you can build up your story. Okay, the first question is, who was the person in the story? Describe the person. When did the action happen? Where did the action take place? How did the weather look like? Or how did he or she feel? Okay, so the last question here has already been discussed just now. So you can write your answer, or you can write your essay based on the question given, and then connect your sentences to make the beginning of your story. Okay, next. The middle of the story. So these are the questions. Who was the person in the story? Describe the person again. The second person that you met in the story. When did the action happen? Where did the action take place? How did the weather look like? And how did she feel? Last one for the ending. What happened after the incident? What did she or he learn? What did he or she promise? And how did he or she feel? So this is the substitution table of the character. Okay, this is Ahmad. He is 11 years old. He is a good boy. Next, it was Sunday. So this is setting the weather, the time. Ahmad was cycling to a park. Yes, as you can see, this is Ahmad. Suddenly, he saw an old lady. She carried a heavy basket. She walked slowly. Ahmad felt sorry for her. Okay, so this will be the second paragraph. As you can see, I only write simple sentences. On to the second picture. Ahmad volunteered to help. he put the basket on his bicycle seat. He pushed his bicycle. They walked together. Sorry. My laptop. Like. Okay, so these are the examples of how you can change some words, some common words to a stronger words. Okay, so you can do that to other words that suits your storylines. Okay, so this is the last paragraph. Finally, they arrived at the old lady's house. She was thankful to Ahmad. Ahmad offered her kindness. She gave him a bag of mangosteens. He was on cloud 9. Okay, so very happy here is very common. Okay, so we can change it to a proverb, or is it a simile? Okay, so we can change it to on cloud 9, which also means similar thing to very happy. And finally, he went home happily. Yes, finally, he went home happily. Okay, so let's revise the essay just now. We can join the simple sentences in the draft just now, okay, to make it a compound sentence, to make compound sentences or complex sentences. Okay, for his kindness. Later, she gave him a bag of mangosteens. He was on cloud 9 and went home. Okay, so last one, not last one. This is the second last step, which is proofread. Always proofread. Okay, do new. Okay, so this is small e 11. Ahmad is 11 years old, and he is as good as. So the first paragraph here is all good. Then Ahmad volunteered to help. He put the basket on his bicycle seat. Later, he pushed his bicycle and they walked together. Okay. For us to publish this essay. So we should count the words. Make sure it is within 82. So there goes our essay for today. Okay. This is another tip for you to score better. Okay, how do we score better? We use connectors. Okay, so it is a style of writing, so you use connectors. And then we have to write in paragraph to show that you have a plot, a story plot. So you arrange it in paragraph. And what else do you need? You have to use smart words and figurative speech. Okay, what are examples that we use in our essay just now? Okay, we use cloud 9. We also use as slow as a snail. Okay, any more that we use? Okay, you can try in your next essay. Okay, and then we use correct GPS. Okay, next is variety of sentences. Variety of sentences means you use simple sentence, you use compound sentences, and then you also have complex sentences. Okay, so we have done all that in our essay just now. Okay, so what are smart words and phrases? Okay, so there are phrasal verb, idiom, simile, proverb, synonym, antonym, or metaphor. Okay, so I think as slow as a snail is a simile. Cloud 9 is an idiom. Okay, so that's all from me about tips and tricks for essay writing. In order for you to be good, so you have to practice. Always practice. Practice makes perfect. The more you write, the better you get. Okay, it's not draft. It's the first one, brainstorming. After you brainstorm everything in here, so then you do draft. Okay, so you draft, you write. Okay, and then after you draft, you have to revise again. What have you had in your mind and what have you drafted? Okay, while you revise, you have to write everything that you have brainstormed just now, and then you have to proofread. After you proofread, you publish. Okay, so this is the question you can do at your own time. Okay, you can use this substitution table. Okay, this one is for introduction of character. This one here is for the first paragraph. Okay, first picture. This one here is for the second picture, second paragraph. The third picture. So before you go, please don't forget to visit this link here for your attendance. Okay, all right, so I'll see you again next time. Thank you for joining me. Bye.